Hey everybody, welcome to the channel and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can catch more videos like this as I do post them. And also please do check out the description section below where I often put more information about whatever it is I'm talking about in the video. If I had to change your mind, change your heart, whatever it is, it'll be down there. There's also some links in there as well, so check it out. And if you have any questions or comments, if you happen to own this unit or another integrated amp that you really love, I'd love to hear about it. Post that in the comment section below. So this is the Denon PMA-800ne, and I hope I got that right. Yes, I did. Denon Integrated Amplifier PMA-800ne, and I have to say, impressed. This is a good one. This is a good one, especially for the price, and especially for the price. I think it's a good value, especially if you could get it on sale. And it doesn't come with this little blue piece of painter's tape. I just put it over the volume knob where the little line is because they just have like a line and you really can't see it. So I put that there for now. If this is a unit that I was keeping, I would definitely put something else over there, something a little bit nicer looking. Maybe even just stick a little felt dot over there or something, just something so I could kind of see where the volume is at. Because with this unit, basically, this is off, volume's totally off. Now when you get to here, you're kind of already in the loud zone, all right? And if you were to go here, in my opinion, that's kind of when it's starting to get too loud. And then if you go up here, in my opinion, it's not clean anymore. So really this volume knob, even though it goes all the way over here, I can't picture going more than, probably like that. I mean, at the very loudest, and even that might not be so clean depending, because again, it gets very loud when it's like right about there. That's when it starts to be, kind of loud. And this unit is 50 watts a channel into 8 ohms, and then they give you 85 watts into 4 ohms, but at the 1 kilohertz frequency. So, I don't really pay attention to that. But the 8 ohms is rated at 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz for the full range. But anyway, tangled in the cord. Let's take a look at this unit. Okay, so it's powered on. So over here, oh, now it's powered on. The second click. Let's do that. Let's do that again. So let's first take a look at the remote control. That's what it looks like. And most of the stuff on this remote is for really controlling other devices, not so much as this. So pretty much with this remote, you'll just be pressing the volume buttons. That's mostly what you'll do. And you could come over here and you could switch actually if I turn it on, that would help. Okay, now it's actually on. So if you come over here and you could press the inputs, and it does have a lot of inputs. It's pretty impressive, and it'll change them. You might be able to see there's a little dot. Or you could come over here and just kind of do that. So like right now it's on CD. Hopefully that's showing. I don't know if it is, but I hope it is. So the volume control on this is pretty good. So like when you press it, it doesn't overshoot. And that's what I like about it. Even though, I mean, I would never go like, maybe a few times I took the volume up over here, but typically that was kind of like more where, I left it when, for me, it was kind of loud. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. The remote is nice. It's nicely spaced. I like that it lights up when when you touch things, some of it. So yeah, at least the CD button anyway. Okay, so enough of the remote. The first thing I want to point out is that you probably want to turn on the auto standby. So when you turn on the auto standby, you got to hold the amp button for 5 seconds, and it's going to flash green 3 times. So the amp power button's right there. So just hold it down for 5 seconds, and when this flashes green 3 times, that means that the auto standby is turned on. And then if you press it again for 5 seconds, I think it's 1 flash, and that means it's turned off. I don't know why anyone would want to turn off the auto standby. because otherwise then this unit's just going to stay on all the time if you forget, or like some music stops playing and then you start doing other things again, you forget, this thing will never shut off. So just keep that in mind, that's pretty important. So let's go over some of the features. Over here you have a bass knob. You got a bass knob right here. You got a treble knob. Now the bass is at 100 hertz and the treble is at 10 kilohertz. I do wish that the bass was a lower frequency. Most speakers handle 100 hertz without any real issues. So, I mean, it would have been nice to see something in the 50 hertz range or in the 60 hertz or even 70 hertz. Hey, even 80 hertz would be nicer than, probably having, 100 hertz. But, that's just my opinion. I think that if the knob was at least 60, it would help most speakers to kind of reinforce some of that low bass, some of the sound from the kick drums. So that would be great. Over here is your balance knob for your left and right speakers, and you can come over here and turn on analog mode, and when you turn on analog mode it shuts off all the digital inputs. So in the back where there's the optical and the coaxial digital, it's going to shut that off when it's in analog mode. I don't hear any difference. I know I used it, I tried it out. I don't know if when it was on, off, if there was any sound difference, but I look at it this way. If you're using analog inputs, it's supposed to make the sound a little bit cleaner, maybe a little bit more clear. I don't know, I don't hear anything. If anything, it's probably great because, you're just cutting off the power to the optical, digital, and coaxial. So, there's more power probably for, for the sound or whatever, or you're just going to save a little bit of energy, with that. Source direct. So source direct, what source direct does is it turns off your bass, treble, and your balance knob. So those no longer work when source direct is turned on. Again, I don't hear any difference. I tried it with and without. The only logical reason really that I have then for turning it on, at least on my end, is just to save a little power. Why power the bass, treble, and volume control if you're not using it? Maybe it sounds better, maybe I just don't hear it, I don't know, but anyway, I don't hear any difference with that. So over here you have your A speaker and you got your B speaker. So you just hit that, like when you push that in, your A is on, press it again, it's off, B is on, B is off. I know you probably can't see any difference over there. If you press them both, then they're both on and functioning. So both A and B will play at the same time. And this over here, it says cartridge, and that's for your phono player, the record player. And this is just your input selector. And I like this knob because it clicks like right in. It clicks right in. And then, oh wait, let me turn off the analog mode so it'll click into the, yeah, so now all the digital ones will work. Because over here is optical 1, optical 2, optical 3, coaxial, there's a lot of them. This unit really has some nice features on the exterior as far as, the bass treble knob, the balance, the source direct, the analog mode, the speaker selectors, this nice, really nice knob that switches the inputs, and the volume knob. I also like the angle of it because it's kind of like the knob is kind of angled like this. So it's not like this and in flat, kind of circular. It's angled, so it kind of fits your hand nicer. It just feels more comfortable. But I really like it, and I really like the exterior of it. I think that it looks great. It looks kind of classy, kind of like you feel like when you're listening to your music, that you're listening to your music on something that's well made. And I'm going to actually get into the sound as well because I do appreciate it. So let me turn this off. And we'll come around to the back. Now, of course, this thing it's pretty handprint friendly. So, if you have little kids and they're going to be touching it, be ready for the handprints. Okay, so let's talk about the back. Here's your phono input over here. Here's the ground. And then you got your optical 1, 2, and 3, and your coaxial. So when I did try out this unit, I typically mostly use the digital. So I use the optical input, and I use the coaxial. And I listen to things like Tidal, Cobuzz, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And I tried out the analog kind of briefly, but I typically, you know, I don't see the reason for using that, you know, for my personal taste, because let's face it, you know, the high-res streaming services, you know, a lot of the music is going to be at, you know, 88 kilohertz, 96, 192. So if you want to get 192, you need the coaxial. If you're going to do up to 96, then, you know, the optical will be fine, because that's as high as optical can go with the PCM audio. So here is the IR control in out, and here you have a recorder for a tape recorder, because here's the in and here's the out. Here's the auxiliary, here's your network input, here's your CD input. I would have liked to have seen just like a regular preamp output on this. You know, it does say recorder, but it would have been nice to just see a preamp. I guess, I don't know, I guess maybe some people still use tape players. I don't know. I haven't had one in so long. But anyway, these are the speaker connectors. You know, they feel okay. I mean, it feels like most of the receivers, that sort of quality, the same quality that's on the Denon receiver or the Marantz receiver that I have. I mean, it basically feels the same. You know, it's okay. You know, it serves the purpose. But, you know, I mean, I don't look at it and say, wow, it's like the best quality, you know, binding posts ever. You know, they're good, they work. There's no problems there. So this thing sells for, I believe, $700 right now. I did pick this up on a great deal. It was on one of those warehouse return open box through, I guess, probably the largest retailer in the world. And, you know, the problem with it, though, is that when I contacted Denon, they said they don't honor any type of a warranty for any type of open box through them. So just make sure, if you do purchase this, make sure that, you know, you're going to get your warranty. Most of the other stores that deal in, you know, audio video equipment, you know, kind of specialize in that. Denon honors the warranty on, you know, open box, stuff like that, store return. So just, you know, if you do purchase it, just make sure that, you know, you contact Denon so you get your warranty. And I mean, for the price I pay for this, I would absolutely keep it. The only problem is, you know, again, there's no warranty. So, I mean, you know, I like a warranty. So I think what I'm just going to do is, unfortunately, I think I'm just going to send it back. And, you know, from there, I'm just going to wait for a sale from one of the other stores that Denon's going to honor the warranty, and then, you know, hey, I'll have it and, you know, I'll keep it. But I think it's a great unit. So let's talk about the sound. I don't know if you can see the interior a little bit. Capacitors look pretty big in here. There's two of them, and power supply, I think is, where's the power supply? I think it's up there. So it does have some nice weight to it. I mean, it's not crazy heavy or anything like that, so you could probably put it on the shelf of most, you know, most racks that, you know, can't handle very a heavy weight. But I mean, it's solid. There's no doubt about it. You know, again, you know, it feels heavy, but it's not. You know, it's nothing too heavy. I don't know how much it weighs, but just, you know, just from lifting it, I mean, it feels like it might be like 20 pounds or so. You know, that's just a guess. So let's talk about the sound quality. As soon as I hooked this up, I was kind of impressed, and I was like, for 50 watts, it sounds much more powerful. I mean, it's just amazing how much more powerful this thing sounds. And considering that, you know, I've used, you know, amps that are, you know, 150 watts and whatever, listening to this, I probably would never guess that it wasn't like, you know, maybe like 150 watts or so, or, you know, at least 100 watts, you know, again, just by listening to it. The sound quality of it is very nice. It has a very like musical but open and airy sound about it. It's a bit more spacious than, you know, you would probably be used to from a lot of other integrated amps or, or home theater receivers or whatever. It just has a nice open spaciousness about it, and I really appreciate listening to music on it. The tonal quality is kind of interesting because, well, first of all, let me talk about the bass, because this was a real surprise. I listened to this with quite a few different speakers, including some of the SVS, the SVS Prime Tower, the SVS Prime Pinnacle, the definitive bipolar towers that I have, and you know, I have two different bipolar towers. The Golden Ear bookshelf speakers, the AN3s. So I really listened to this with, you know, tower speakers, bookshelf speakers, and tower speakers that have their own built-in sub. I thought that when I was listening to it using speakers like the SVS Prime Pinnacle, Prime Tower, the Golden Ear AN3, that I felt like it had a little bit more heft in the bass without using the tone controls or with leaving the tone controls set flat. It just kind of sounded a bit fuller, a bit deeper in the bass than if I was to compare it to, you know, other amps or receivers or whatever, you know, listening to music on. There's just a little bit more weight in the bass. The part that really shocked me was when I went from the passive speakers over to the definitive towers. The definitive towers and this, like the bass was just, I was blown away. I was just blown away, and it confirmed, you know, how deep and how rich and how full the bass sounds when it's connected to some type of a powered sub. So, you know, keep that in mind if you do purchase this, that, you know, it is putting out deeper bass. Whether or not it really has the power to, you know, move it on your passive speakers is something else, but it's there, because I compared this to some other integrated amps, and I'm going to be making a video of that and talking about it more, but it's there. You know, I would suggest potentially hooking up some type of a sub to this, hook the sub up in line or whatever, or if you have definitive speakers, I mean, it's a great match, because the mid-range on this unit is fantastic. Just great mid-range, not only vocals, but, you know, instruments that hang out in that range, your snare drums. Snare drums always sounded good, sounded nice and clear. I never felt like I was kind of missing something, like I'm listening to it and going, come on, you know, give me more, I need a little bit more. Something else that really impressed me about this is the treble. The treble was really clear, but with most of the, you know, pretty bad recordings from a lot of the rock and metal that I listened to, it handled it really well. Most of the stuff wasn't like mutilated, whereas some of the other you know, amps that I tested, or integrated amps or whatever, you know, it might have really enhanced that bad sound. I just felt like when I listened to this, I could pretty much listen to everything. And I didn't feel like I was being really overpowered with treble in any way, because some of the other, you know, amps, integrated amps or whatever, I felt like I was being hit by, like the treble was coming at me, like was just beaming straight at me, hitting me right in the face, and I'm kind of like wincing, and I'm like, okay, enough. But with this, it just felt nice and spacious overall. But it is sharp, it is clear, but I don't think that it's too much. I would pair this with something neutral as far as a speaker goes. I would go with something neutral or neutral warm. I don't think I would want this with a very bright sounding speaker. Everything that I connected this to, I was happy. And the definitive towers really sounded great. It really brought out mid-range from those speakers, which I find a lot of different amps just really can't bring out, you know, the clarity that those speakers are capable of. But this is definitely one of them. So just, you know, keep that in mind if you happen to own a pair of those, or you're thinking about purchasing them, because this would be a great match for some type of stereo music scenario. something like this, you could also use it to add it on to, like, say, a home theater receiver. So say your home theater receiver has 7 channels and it has 2 preamp outputs to give you 9, or it has 9 channels that have built-in power, and it has 2 preamp outputs to give you 11. Well, all you'd have to do is hook up one of those preamp outputs, come back here, connect it to, like, the CD to the network, and anytime that you listen to movies, or should I say watch movies or listen to movies, whatever, come over here, turn this over to the CD input or the network input or whatever on the analog input, and just set your volume accordingly. What I would do with that in that situation is I would listen to the volume leveling adjustment on the receiver, and then kind of set that, and then I would probably put a little something here. I know I would, like, put a little tiny little felt stick on or something right there, so that I know every time I'm going to watch a movie, the volume would be set like that, or maybe it would be set right there, and I would be good. So because this has A and B speakers, you could have one set of speakers which would sound nice with potentially your home theater, to add those extra, surround speakers or whatever, and then have another speaker that you're using for music. Or, you could potentially use this for music with 2 sets of speakers. And again, I really enjoyed this with the Definitive Towers, but also the Golden Ears sounded great as well. The Prime Pinnacle sounded good, and the Prime Tower sounded good. Although with the Prime Pinnacle, I found it to be kind of just overall a bit too rough sounding with metal music, heavy metal, rock, and a lot of those recordings. So I really didn't appreciate it so much. So that was the only speaker. But with that, with that said, I really can't find an amplifier that I really appreciate that speaker for with that type of music. So I'm not so much as, I'm not blaming the Denon. Oh, I got this sticker here I forgot from the other review. So that's it. So that's my review of the Denon PMA-800ne. I think it's $700. I think it's a fantastic buy if you're looking for something to listen to music with, or if you're looking for something to listen to music and also add on to your home theater receiver. Again, it would be a great add-on. I do appreciate the sound of it. I appreciate the spaciousness and the overall airiness of the presentation. It just has a nice way of giving the music more depth to it than a lot of equipment where when you're listening to it, it sounds like it's very contained. This sounds more like, it's more this like spacious sound, like it's like coming at you like this. Maybe almost like there's a bit of like a reverb on it, just a tiny smidgen of reverb, which is just, creating a wider sound stage. So, keep that in mind. Great amp for, all kinds of music, but just keep in mind, it is 50 watts, so if you're driving some speakers that are really, really hard speakers to drive, you probably would want to go for, the model up. So I hope you found that helpful. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Thanks, have a great day.